Talk with Smoke and Jeremy B. I got my guest for the last time for a while because he starts a new position on Monday. B. Trilla, the Trilla. So I'm going to get to this article a friend of mine sent me, and you all know him in the chat as Moonscar Blade, but I found it quite compelling. So at the draft, while they did have over 600,000 people there and got their 700 whatever they had and got close to us, disappointed draft vendors turned to social media to try and sell large amounts of leftover food. This was wrote Tuesday. Some NFL draft food vendors are speaking out, going home with a lot more supply than originally anticipated. Now they're trying to get rid of the leftovers so food doesn't go to waste. A couple of them have said it was an utter disappointment how vendors from the NFL draft are feeling, less than impressive amount of foot traffic over the event. And I was like, well, what do you expect? You set up food trucks just outside of it instead of down the street where the parties were.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the bars said that the traffic wasn't as big. I was like, draft didn't get over till midnight every fucking night. What the fuck you want?
Well, it could have been about rules and stipulations of where the trucks were at, where they had to be at, and how late they could be open too. That's the other thing. Green Bay's not like Detroit. They have different rules than we do because they're a small ass city.
Right.
So,
out of all their preparation between all the food trucks combined, they sold less than 10% of their food at the draft. That's a damn shame. It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying anything bad about Green Bay. I'm just saying, no, come on. I'm not going to say anything bad about the town, but yes, I know they have different rules. I know the streets roll up on Sunday at 6 p.m. when everybody goes to Sunday night mass. I know.
Mm-hmm.
Unless the Packers are on, that's their other place they worship.
Mm-hmm. God bless the little town of Green Bay.
Yeah. But that being said, they're good people. Their fandom just sucks. Mm-hmm. But other than that, there really isn't anything going on. Once again.
Yeah.
All's quiet. But you know what? No news is good news when you're a team that sat at the top last
year. Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to tell people this. I sat there and said, everybody said, oh, what flashy player are we going to get? And that was before I left. Hey, right after we were out of the playoffs. And what did I tell them, B? None. I said, we're going to do status quo. We're going to replace replacement players with replacement players and then get a couple. If we lose a starter, we'll get a starter. That's what we're going to do. And that's basically what we did, except in the case of Darius Smith, we replaced him.
I do have a joke for you, though. Sure. You want to hear a joke?
Yeah, I love jokes.
Shadur says he's trying to bring Cleveland a Super Bowl. That's one of the NFL things that came out yesterday.
That's almost as good as me doing this. It's almost as funny. Brett DeWitt was laughing my ass off.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Brett. Good to see you. Live every day, whether I want to be or not. Monday through Friday, I do this show. The only time I haven't is court.
Mm-hmm. Court's above everything else.
Yep. Hey, at least I might not be here for June 6th. I think it's a Wednesday because I have an early morning court. So we might not have a noon time show on that. But at the same time, once it's over, it's either going to be y'all miss me for 30 days or it's over.
No, you could be all right, brother. I know.
Well, hey, at least I'm honest and say it's going to be one or the other. Because even though I did the plea deal, I could be sentenced for up to 30 days.
I doubt that's going to happen.
No, because I instead of paying part of it, I paid everything right there on the spot for the fine. I was like, here you go.
You took the matter serious by the court. So that's all that counts. Hey, speaking of Green Bay,
Mm-hmm.
Alexander prefers to be released rather than traded so he can pick his own destination. What's his own destination going to be? Red Cross?
I was gonna say pick a hospital, any hospital.
Yeah, okay, sure. I want to pick my own destination. Okay. And then ex-wide receiver Steve Smith sued for alleged affair with Ravens marching band member under home wrecking law. Antonio Martinez, the husband of the marching band member, is seeking $100,000 in damages. One day in band camp, one summer in band camp. That's all I can vision with that one. One day in band camp. Steve Smith. He'll probably have to give up that 100,000 too, because he apologized to that guy many times, and it was texted to him. I didn't know, but she was good. Anyway, anybody out there that's watching, you got any other tidbits to let us know about? Hey, that's what we're here for.
Come on in the chat. I even put the link in there because I'm not scared. I let you all hop in if you want to.
Right.
And I know Mountain Mitch says he runs a business and doesn't have time for it, but guess what? I've had people that run businesses hop on the show and do it in the background and stay off camera, and you can hear their keyboard typing away.
Broski Bear, he does that. He runs a business. He's in the background.
Through.
Anyway. On a good note, another good note of there you go.
What's up, JB? Yes. How you doing there, buddy?
Speaking of the devil.
And I didn't say that as a derogatory statement to you, just so don't get defensive on me.
How about them Tigers?
Yeah, they just keep doing something.
Yeah. How about Javier Baez? Everybody hates him, but he's
finally looking like he might pan out to be worth the money this year. He hasn't been the last two.
He's got to be, he's got to earn that money back. That's what he got to do. He's doing okay right now. Continue that on for the whole season. How about that? But yeah. It's gonna be like we're gonna play Jeopardy music in a minute.
Yeah, no, I'm waiting to see if anything comes up.
Right. It's slow. That's the capital. Oh. There's a lot of sports stories out there. Just none of them really football related.
Nothing football. What did the Pistons do? Did they win or lose?
They lost.
Okay, so it's over. Thank God.
Yeah.
In a way, thank God.
Yeah.
Because if they'd have won, our fans go over the top. You know, the casual fans that don't study the sport. I knew that if we won, we weren't making it past the next round.
Oh, hell no. We're not beating the Celtics. That ain't happening. Knicks ain't beating the Celtics either. So
if we were going to win, this was the team we had the best chance at it. And the fact it went 7 games tells you it was, right?
Well, 6.
Well, 6.
But
still.
Yeah. Yeah. It shouldn't have went 6. It should have went 5. But it is what it is. We'll be back. We'll be back next year. with a vengeance. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, let's go see. Let's check another site. What the hell? Nobody's in here chatting. This is the lowest amount of people we've had watching ever. We're at 19 viewers.
Yeah. Hey, they know it's football is,
Let's look in the NFL side. Maybe there's a signing we missed or something.
Sure.
Why not?
I don't think there's any signing you would miss, JB. So,
well, the NFL roundup just came out. Eagles signed 4 of their draft picks today.
Oh, that's good. Good for them.
Adam Thielen announced that this year will be his last year in the NFL.
Good thing they got Renfro.
Green Bay Packers, Warren Brinson signed his contract today, the 6th round pick. For a 4-year, $4.4 million contract. So a 6th round pick gets $1.1 million a year, just so everybody gets it. So Kyle McCord, Miles Hinton, Antoine Powell Ryland, and Smail Mondon Jr. all signed the rookie contract with Philly, and that's all there is for NFL news today.
This sucks. Just sucks.
This is the time of year where if I really wanted to be a dick, I could go 2 days a week and snooze every day.
Shit, you can probably go 1 day a week and you'd be all right. This is really not nothing out there.
Saturday and Sunday, something always happens. So Monday's a good day to go, and then wait till Friday and do the other one. But I like the Daily Show. I like talking to my fans. I like it when I get people I've never seen before in there talking shit. That's fun.
Wow.
I like it when they say, "Hey, you guys lost to the Commanders." I said, "Did we lose to you?"
Right. Worry about your own team, buddy.
I said, I didn't come in here bragging because you lost. I bragged because we won the division. We got to the playoffs. Unlike Mr. Undefeated Chicago Bears. Damn. Did I say that out loud?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Just saying. Everybody else is 1-1 in the division. But we all got one win, motherfuckers.
Right.
Oh, wait.
Chicago is off-season Super Bowl champ.
Packers are unwinnable now. Right now, as it's set, that first part of the season started. David D6, yes, a 15-win season with all of the Lions' defensive injuries was a great accomplishment. And that was because the coordinators took their job seriously in the season and had game plans that worked. And after they got told they're basically were going to be hired by their 2 jobs that they were getting,
they went out the window.
They didn't game plan. I don't see where they game planned. And I put it more on the coaching than I do the players. But the players had to play the game on the field too. But at the same time, the offense still put up 31 points. And if the defense did anything with only 6 points given up in a pick 6, it'd have been a different game. Because I don't know, but I watched a lot of games this year, and not a lot of teams scored 31 points or more. There was like 6 teams that averaged even close to 30 points this past season, and they were all in the playoffs.
Buffalo was 1. Detroit was 1. I think I want to say Kansas City. I don't know.
No. Kansas City only averaged 22 points. They were the odd man out. Philly, Detroit, Commanders, Broncos, Buccaneers, and there was one other one. I think it was the Rams, right? Wasn't the Rams all up there at like 27 or more? I agree, Brenda. LOL when Sarah said MCDC's a bitch, but no reply when I pointed out that 6-0 division record seems like y'all are his bitches. I think the injury to Amik Robertson on the second defensive play was yes, it was. It was. And the good thing is, it was nothing major. It didn't need surgery. It just needed to heal. He was, if the season was continuing, he'd only been out like 6 to 8 weeks. Ricky Sika! Time for the music.
Yeah, the 5 top teams last year were the Lions, the Bills, the Ravens, and the Buccaneers, and the Commanders scoring.
Yeah. And Broncos was right below that, right there. Weren't they right there?
Broncos were 10th.
Okay. Chiefs were below that.
Chiefs weren't even on the top 10.
Right.
Chiefs were...
Who were the other...
the Chiefs? Chiefs weren't even in the top 20. Oh, they were 15th. My bad. I was going to say.
Okay. Who was from that top 4 you read, from there down to the Broncos? Who was in between?
Bengals, Eagles, Packers, Vikings, and then Broncos. So hell, half of the 3/4 of the NFC North was in the top 10. Yeah,
and I think Bears were even around there where the Chiefs were. I think they were 18th in scoring, maybe a little lower.
They ain't even in the top 25.
Never mind. Doesn't matter then.
Does it ever? with the Bears?
Yeah, losing Amik was a killer for sure. We knew we were doomed when Vildor came in. I mean, all Vildor is Carlton Davis without hands. Gets burnt for a lot of yards.
Face mask though.
Well, what's funny is everybody says Terry and Arnold was so awful because he had all those penalties to start the season. Who had more by the end of the season? CD3.
Yeah, CD3 was. Yeah, he was.
He had the most yardage given up, the most penalties taken too out of the two. So when you got the most yardage given up and you're the most penalties, oh yeah, he did great in the red zone. Stop them before they get there.
Yeah.
Vildor is TB's problem now. Best off-season move we've made. Yep, that and CD3. I agree. Because I didn't want to pay CD3 no $20 million a year.
I didn't even like CD3 when we got him, to tell you the truth.
Amik's ability to play the run and quick screens was yes, David. Great comment. And them running Monty the entire first half instead of Jahmyr Gibbs. Good afternoon. Oh, we get more music.
There you go. Look at that. Moonscar giving shouts.
I don't think TA had many penalties in the second. No, he didn't. He only had 4 the entire second half. He ended with 12. Amik ended up with, Carlton Davis ended up with 13. Amik had 8. I think Branch had like double digits too this past year. His penalties went up. I'm just catching up the comments, so I know I got them all in here. Because it was great to start getting comments because me and B were like, what are we talking about now? But yes, the fact we overcame all those injuries, it just got to where they were insurmountable. And that's why I'm going to say this one more time for everybody who does not understand football. The pick of Talik Williams at 28, because everybody they wanted in the edge room that was worth an actual first-round pick without being questionable for first or second was gone. Everybody else had question marks. Either came out of a weak conference, low production, bad practice things, or anything else. Because that's why they weren't first-round talent. That's why we took Talik Williams, because Aleem is going to be out the first 6 to 8 weeks. And the earliest he can get here is, I think it was Halloween, wasn't it? That's week 6, if I remember right. Week 6 or 7, anyways.
Right. So
And I don't trust Brandon. I don't trust Brandon Roy to be a starter. I'm sorry.
Washington had 22 pass interferences, the most in the NFL. Detroit was 19th. The Jets were 18th. Baltimore was 16th. Denver was 15th. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yep, exactly. He can play both positions at the D tackle. Oh no, we get to play the music again. It's Smoking Dad. We take players with good tape and great interviews. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Dave, that is Smoking Dad. That is my father.
Father. Yeah. Yeah, I know Bandit was talking about Tyleek Williams. He said, yeah, you know why he's great? Because he's from Ohio State. I'm like, oh, God.
But I will admit, their trench players actually
I know.
do well in the NFL. The linebackers, the wide receivers, some of them have been good. The quarterback, CJ Stroud, and that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Will Howard too, right?
Yeah, Will Howard was a transfer though. He wasn't there the entire time. He learned something else before he transferred there. So it's kind of like saying Joe Burrow's all LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Burrow just wasn't good enough to crack the Ohio State roster because they wanted the athleticism of the guys in front of him.
That's how their offense was built. Yeah.
Right. Whereas Will Howard, he was at a small school, but he wasn't getting seen. So he moved to Ohio State to get on national TV. And it worked out for him, just not against Michigan.
Mm-hmm. Never against Michigan. Or Oregon. They lost to Oregon, too. Origami.
Yeah, but that's how I knew they were beating Oregon in the playoffs, is because they lost to them in the regular season. In playoffs, when you got that much time to prepare for a team, it'll be interesting to see how Justin Fields does in a Jets offense with Tanner Engstrom as offensive coordinator. And Steve Eisen. Yeah, 100%. I'm so glad we didn't lose Hank Fraley. If we lost Hank Fraley, I think I'd have been more scared for our offense because we use his zone blocking scheme that he was taught at Philly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, OSU, home of the rocket scientist, DC, also known as Matt Patricia.
That's Ohio State's best hire. At least for me.
So, I can't wait to see the one down lineman prevent defense we used to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Can't stop the run or the pass with that motherfucker.
Another Michigan win.
That's why Philly lost 6 games straight.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody forgets that Philly went 11-6.
Yeah, when they lost both their offensive and defensive coordinators and kept trying to fill the gaps with the defensive coordinators.
Me. They lost 5 games straight, won 1, then lost. I forgot because they played a team that was worse than them on offense. And then went to Tampa and got absolutely demolished in the playoffs that year.
Yeah, that was sad.
Wasn't it like 45-10 or some shit like that? It was
bad. Tampa Bay beat the brakes off. It was bad though. The next year, even though they did win a Super Bowl, Tampa Bay beat the brakes off of them again.
Yeah, in the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, they're not getting past them, but they didn't have to play them.
Yeah, thank God for them.
So I got in contact with the director of the GLIAC that Grand Valley State is in, so I can get some footage on Ian Kennelly. I said all I want is 2 of his best games and 2 of his worst games. So I want to see what he does right and what he does wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So if I get that, we'll get a nice in-depth scouting profile on Ian Kennelly, the safety out of Grand Valley State. You know, I like to pick somebody out of the local ones that went to a local school and actually give a background on them every year. That's my goal, is to have that done before the preseason starts.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good piece of topic to be talking about.
Yeah, it gives somebody the background, find out what high school he went to, find out what his high school accolades were. Because I can't even find him on Max Prep, so it bothers me. Hank Fraley is in the conversation with Eagles offensive line coach Jeff Stoutland for best current O-line coach. Yes.
He is the best offensive line coach. There ain't no damn
Yeah,
conversation.
those two alternate who has the best O-line every year lately. And then you got to splash in the Chiefs O-line coach. Those are the two.
Yeah. I don't know about that
They
one.
had some injuries last year that hindered them. I'm saying every year they're usually up there.
Well, usually, I mean, injuries be sham because the Lions still have a consistently good offensive line even with injuries.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I know. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just saying that's the first time that they haven't been in the top 10 in O-line in probably 2 years for the Chiefs.
yeah, their offense was garbage anyway. The defense really got them into the Super Bowl, and that screwed them up.
Every time they had somebody with the hands to catch, they would let them go.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Chadwick, Ron Rubik, and Eric Lynch come to mind as Lions. And don't forget David Kirkus. David Kirkus came out of Grand Valley State, I believe, didn't he?
I think so. Yep.
Hank Tanks always seem to come through, except for Sorsdahl. Yep. Sorsdahl actually did well last year for the first time when he came in. And he goes, indeed. I was right.
Matt Judon, too.
Yep. No, but we were talking about specifically Lions.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm actually friends with Jeff Chadwick on Facebook. I talked to him a few times. Had him on the podcast a long time ago when I was a part of another podcast. Might have to reach out, get him back on again. Like
Grand Valley State.
I'm still waiting to hear back from Glover Quinn because I talked to him 2 years ago on Thanksgiving as a guest on another podcast. And Matt Derry, of course, we all know who Matt Derry is, but he's been super negative about everything. I think he's one of the ones that wanted the super flashy player.
He's the old guy on the porch.
Get off of my lawn! What up, my buddy RXJ from Twitter coming on over and saying hi. It's good to see you.
What's up, RXJ? Long time no see, bro.
Oh, we got a next comment. Nice. And that looks like black and yellow there. Would that be a Steelers fan?
Looks like it.
He goes, nothing much, fellas. What's the new news today? Four of the rookies signed with Philly, one signed with Green Bay. Adam Thielen announced that this will be his last season in the NFL. And he goes, oh, nice. Love it. So we got a new one comment about the Lions from Twitter. Thank you for the comment. That just goes to show you, if you follow the instructions where the caption is, you can have your comments come up to Dad. Then, of course, there's your cousin's kid who had a full ride to GVS and gave it up and came home because he missed his mommy. Yeah, I heard about it.
A little family business there, huh?
Yeah. Trevor Nowoski is a recent example of smaller Michigan school Lions UDFA establishing himself with the Lions. Yes, I
Mhm.
did an in-depth profile when we picked him up as a UDFA. I was one of the first ones of the Lions writers that had one out there, and all of a sudden, boom, I saw 4 more, but none of them said the same thing.
So,
You
so
remember
real
that,
quick,
Pete?
yeah, yeah. So, what college? What college has had the most Detroit Lions players drafted?
Oh, God. You can't say Michigan because there hasn't been that many. I'm going to say either Ohio State or Alabama. No? What is it?
You were right the first time. University of Michigan.
Really?
No,
It's just
31,
been a while.
31.
It's
Yeah.
it's been a while since they did it consistently because there was Jeff Sackis, of course.
Yeah.
And yes, I say Sackis because Backus didn't get good till like his last 5 years.
You can't forget about Aiden Hutchinson.
Oh, we know Hutch.
Yeah. Now, even a
Glasgow,
harder.
Jake Rudock.
Yep. Yep. Even a higher, more harder question. What high school in Detroit has had the most players in the
Detroit County
NFL?
Day. Detroit County Day.
Nope,
That's
Cass
my
Tech.
okay. I knew it had to be County Day, Cass Tech, or
Hey,
the
I would have. If I wasn't looking at that, I would have said King because
Yep.
there's a lot of players come out of King.
I'm just saying there was 3 that came right off the top of my
Yeah.
head already. Detroit
Mhm.
County Day, Cass Tech, and the other one was, believe it or not, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, which brings a lot of players to the NFL, a lot more than people
Mhm.
realize,
Mhm.
because they're the guys that always go to defense, uh, Division 2 or 3, but have size. Detroit Lions are University of Michigan and University of Southern California with 31 players. Thank you, Rude.
Mhm.
He was 6'2", weighed 305, and ran a slow 4.5. At 305, that's fast. I'm sorry. Defensive
That's a
end
big
James Hall,
guy.
who played his college ball at Michigan, was one of the Lions' best UDFAs in the last 25 years. Yes, he was. I like it. David knows his shit. uh, every Friday night, I do the Lions fan cave chat. I'm going to put an email in here for you. Are you watching on the Kneecap Biting Network there, David? So if you're watching, use that email me, and I would like to have you on the show one Friday night at 9 p.m. if you're available. Yep. I like knowledgeable fans. Loveland was the highest rated non QB skill position player drafted since Braylon Edwards in 2009. Well, he was drafted in the exact same position. Then I'll have you on with the Wednesday night one. I got Wednesday nights at 9. I do the NFL roundtable talk. B Strilla's always there.
Mhm.
Let's see, Eric Ebron was 2011, right? Or 12 or 10 or whatever.
I think he was talking about. You mean from Michigan, Brent?
No, he just said the highest non QB skill position player drafted. Cool. What I do with that is we usually do like the top 4 sports stories.
Yeah,
Do
he
opinion.
said they're from Michigan.
Oh, from Michigan. Okay.
Yeah.
That I believe. Okay. Yeah, because DPJ went later. So did Julio Peppers. He went later.
David Robinson was too. Highest
Um, but
non-quarterback.
not Mason
Yeah,
Graham
Robinson
beats
was.
him. Wait, Mason Graham beats him this year. He was drafted 5th overall.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love when they don't think about the defensive positions when all they think about is offense, and they say the highest non QB drafted better specify offense or defense. Because I think there's been a couple of defensive players since 2009 that went in the first round before pick 10. Hasn't there?
What? Aiden Hutchinson was.
Yeah, Aiden Hutchinson.
He might be. He might be.
I think they're talking offense only. I think they're talking offense only.
Yeah, Brent, come with the
But I mean,
if it's offense, I'd probably
I think he got the guy that wrote the article wasn't thinking about defense when he wrote it. Is what I'm saying. Because I know he gets good information too, and I'm not knocking your information, Brent. I'm just saying the writer you got it from is sadly mistaken if he didn't specify. Defensive line is not considered a skill position any more than offensive line.
Yeah.
Cornerback, wide receiver, tight end, and running back. That's the skilled positions, right?
Mm-hmm.
The safety's not even considered a skilled position anymore because most of the safeties play cornerback too, if I remember right.
Quarterbacks, backs, wide receivers, and tight ends are all skilled positions. Anybody who receives the let's see, that's offensive positions.
And I think it's just defensive backs for the defense that's considered a skilled position.
Yeah, they consider skill position as offensive positions. So that would be quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends.
Yep. So that's exactly what it was.
Yeah. So that was an offensive question.
I share this because I have been translated from North Detroit to North Florida. I actually lived in Detroit my whole life, but moved to Florida back in '98. Stayed down there 2 years between Zephyr Hills and Tampa. I was in the middle of the state. On the Gulf side, no less.
Smack in the middle.
Kind of like when I'm in Michigan, Flint, Michigan, right here. I'm smack in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the only way to be more middle than me is to live in Lansing.
Mm-hmm.
I also used to live in the gateway to the north, which was Bay City, which is right up there in the mouth of the bay.
Bay City's awesome.
Right there, the mouth of the bay.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that crazy that you could show somebody if you ain't got a map, you can pick up
I live here.
I live here.
I live here.
And if you go, you can't do it that way. You got to do it this way. And if I live in the UK, I live over here.
That's funny as shit.
You know what the Yoopers call us, right?
The downers? I don't know what.
No, we're called trolls because we live under the bridge.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. I'm dead serious, dude. That's what they call it.
I'm sure.
Well, Andrew Souls from We Are Lions Nation that I was a part of before you started hanging out with me. He lives up there, and he used to, every time I would say something negative because the Lions were sucking that year in 21, I was, you fucking troll.
Yeah, and the thing about those Yoopers too, a lot of them on the west side of the state are Green Bay fans, fuckers.
Oh, so you're right there by Fort Walton Beach and all of that, right? Because when you say the armpit, I know where you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Flatlanders.
Oh no, we're not Kyrie Irving.
Yeah. Flatlanders.
I know that we rotate around the sun, not the other way around.
That'd be flat earthers, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Yoopers, man.
Yeah, because they got the Porcupine Mountains, so they can flatlanders. And my dad says I live in bumfuck Egypt. Oh,
that's out there.
We actually have filled some time.
Yeah.
I can't.
Still got about 20 minutes left.
Yeah, but the first 20 minutes we were bored as shit. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, we ain't nothing going on.
I mean, there wasn't a comment till 20 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
And we're at 60 in 20 minutes. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we got a good following in this Rod guy, a Rude guy, or
Rude.
Rod. How is it? Rude? Yeah.
Rude.
He came in there. That's good.
R-O-O-D, rude. Unless he's trying to say road, but I think it's rude.
It's Rude. Yeah.
But I remember when I lived in Tampa, I went to one Lions game at Raymond James Stadium. I can't remember if it was 98 or 99 because, when you start going back that far, you get a little fuzzy.
So it was barryless, in other words, right?
Yeah, that was barryless. So, but I know we won. Because all the Tampa Bay fans wanted to beat the shit out of me for wearing my Lions hat. At least I was smart enough not to wear my shirts or any of that stuff. I just wore the hat. I didn't take it out till we won.
Yep, they won 28-25.
Was it 98?
Yep. November 22nd. And of course, you can go to games in Tampa Bay in November 22nd.
Hell yeah.
And fuck this place.
I didn't even need a jacket or coat, and it was outside. It was beautiful. I think it was like 68 degrees that day, maybe 70 at night when we watched.
Yeah, that's when they were still in the NFC Central.
Yeah. The last year, I think. Wasn't it 99 they switched, or was it 2000?
I think it was 2000, but I could be wrong. Let me see.
Or was that the first?
It was 2000. 2000.
Okay. Yeah, I knew it was
still 1999. They got here and they played them twice.
Yep. 2001 was the last. The 2000.
2001, yeah, because they played them in 2000 again too. Yeah.
Yep. The 2000-2001 season was the last
year. Yeah, at least they won one in their last year. Who do we have on that team in 2000? Charlie Batch.
Yeah, that was a great pick.
Stoney Case. Hey, Charlie Batch wasn't a bad quarterback. He just wasn't. He wasn't starter though. He was a backup.
Right.
Holy cow! Look at the damn running backs we had. Oh, we had James Stewart. That's right, James Stewart. Cedric Irvin.
Cedric Irvin. Did we have Greg Hill still, or did he get hurt after his rookie season?
No, we didn't even have him on the roster.
Texas entered the NFL in 2002. New 4-team divisions. Yep. Vikings got a UDFA that might make the. Yeah, I know Tyler Batty. We kept talking about him. I thought he'd have went to. And they signed a burner punt returner that might make it. Yep. But I was talking about just specifically today's news at 11 o'clock. I use the roundup from NFL.com because it gives you everything that's signed from the day before to that moment every day. At 11 a.m. it comes out, and it never fails. That's why every now and then I get that little notification. You guys say, "Hey, breaking news! This just happened." You guys, no, it didn't. And 5 minutes later, it shows up on Twitter. But
James Hall was playing on there.
Yeah.
In 2000.
Yeah.
Robert Porsche was still on there. Yeah. Pritchett, Scroggins, Luther Ellis was still. Damn.
Yeah, we had a decent defense. We just didn't have an offense. Yeah. I said decent, not great.
We had Terry Fair as a cornerback.
Tony Case had a meltdown in the loss to the Bears in the 2000 finale after Charlie Batch went down to injury earlier in the game. This was the worst regular season loss I ever experienced as a fan. Yeah, everybody hates losing to Chicago. They haven't been relevant since 1985.
Ron Rice. I remember Ron Rice. Took a picture
of
him.
Did I say that out loud?
Shh.
I was internally thinking. I must have just mumbled it, right?
They had an 8-8 record, though. Let's see. Who were they? 9-7.
I know it did. That loss cost us the wild card that year. I remember. That was because we had Matt. I take Mel Kiper's best available Millen as a GM during that time too. It didn't help. And it led to Matt Millen. Yes, yes. But the same thing is, I don't know if you've read the memoirs, but one of the reasons Barry Sanders retired was because they hired Bobby Ross instead of Matt Millen. He pounded the table for Matt Millen to be a head coach. And I think he'd have been a better head coach than a GM because he understood football and he played football. I remember the night he got hired. It was after that game you're talking about, David. All right, Rude. Every Monday through Friday, I'm here doing that. Check us out anytime. Tonight at 9 p.m. if you're available, hop in the chat again. I'll be doing the NFL Roundtable Talk. Have a great day. But I remember after that loss to Chicago that knocked us out of the playoff, the phone rang, and it was William Clay Ford giving Matt Millen the GM job during the post-game report. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we are. I told everybody about it. Yes, I did, Moonscar. We did that to start the show about the Green Bay food trucks and everything and how they're donating it and trying to sell it online and everything else just to make their money back.
It wasn't Bobby Ross that didn't draft well. It was the whole damn organization that draft well.
And it got worse when they hired Millen.
Yeah, Millen, yeah.
And believe it or not, I'm going to defend him a little bit. It got better with Mayhew.
I mean, they still had losing records, but it did get a little bit better because I think the first two seasons in the 2000s, one was like 2-14, and the other one was 3-13. That was the first two seasons, and then they got Matt Millen, and he went up like 2 wins. And the next one was 6 wins. It's like, damn.
Okay, and Ross did have final say. And what was funny about that, now that you mention it, the reason why, after they didn't hire Millen, Barry was going to come back, and it was just before camp. And Bobby Ross, just before the draft, told Barry Sanders, he goes, we're drafting Greg Hill out of Tennessee, and you're going to be the third down running back. And that's what made up his mind. He was like, screw it, I retire. I remember Millen's wife saying after he got fired, we were in football hell. Well, yeah, he put us there 100%. If I could put like 80 likes and stars on that comment. It was awful. The decade of despair is what I called that.
Mm-hmm. 0-16 in the 2008 Lions.
Every single pick, even the good ones, couldn't stay healthy. Remember that, B? I think Teddy Lehman was flashing, looking like he was going to be good. Boom, he was injured.
Just the year they won at
Jordan dies on, you know.
Yeah, I was at this game after the 0-16 season. I remember I went to the Washington game the next season where they were 2-something. What were they? What was their record? I think it was 2-something. 2-14. Mm-hmm. And one of the games they won was Washington. And I remember the Washington fans. There was a lot of Washington fans there.
We were home that game, weren't we?
Yeah, because I was sitting right behind. I was sitting right behind the goal post at the. I want to say the
tunnel side
of the field. Where you come in at? That's where I was sitting at.
The tunnel side.
Yeah. And then there was a whole bunch of Washington people sitting behind me.
They were so angry. Hey,
they were up there yelling and screaming, yeah, the Washington and Lions suck and all this stuff. And after they lost, I said, how you like them Lions now, buddy?
Brent, I'll make you cry more. I remember watching us pick Terry Fair over Randy Moss. To me, that's a bigger travesty.
Who's that?
We picked Terry Fair, a punt returning cornerback, over Randy Moss. And I mean the very next pick. It wasn't 3 picks later like Donald. It was the very next pick. We picked Terry Fair. Minnesota didn't even pull to Brad Holmes. They ran to the podium and picked Randy Moss.
Well, I don't know if that would have been detrimental to the line as much as Ebron over Aaron Donald. Could you imagine that, though? If Aaron Donald and Dominic Sue were playing together, that defense would have been – they would have killed somebody. What's up, Yoli?
And we got Yoli. Yes, we love Yoli. Yoli is our favorite Packer fan. Steve's a close second. I think the Saints hold the record for most losses in a row. Never won a game for their first 2 seasons in existence. I thought it was the Buccaneers that had that.
Yeah, I thought it was the Buccaneers too.
Because that was back when it was 14-year season. I think they did win a game at the end of they won 2 games at the end of their season, and Tampa Bay broke that record by only winning 1, if I remember right, in the second season. Yep, 26 straight losses by the Bucs. That's the record. Oh, it's so good to see everybody, though. Yoli asks, how are we both doing? Go ahead, B. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm here. I woke up this morning.
Another day this side of the side and upright, even if my body don't want to let me stand up straight.
Right. Yep, 26 losses, man.
Yeah, 26
and
losses.
You thought it was tough to be a Lions fan. The only thing about the Bucs that got them, they were in some Super Bowls. So I mean, you can't.
And they won one.
Yeah, they won the Super Bowl. So
did they win 2? They won 2, right? Because they beat the Raiders with Chucky.
Yeah, they won. Yeah, they beat Chucky and the Raiders.
That was after Dungy left, and Chucky was the coach at the time, and they beat Rich Gannon-led Oakland Raiders, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm. You got it correct.
And she said, amen. Yeah, we were putting up the new lamppost out front. We're going to have a new lamppost on our sidewalk that'll light it up.
Yay.
And it's that time of the day where I do my David, you're going to appreciate this. I don't know if you've watched the show before or not, but here we go. It's our sponsors. Yesterday we did bottom to top. Today we do top to bottom. The Vikings at second place can go get Skull Fuck. And remember Skull. It's like saying score, but with a cock in your mouth. In third place, we have FTP. Fuck the Packers. In last place, because they really suck, it's the Bears. Fuck them. I know you love doing that.
Brett was like, fuck it. The Bears. I know, Brett. Brett's with me, man. Fuck them Bears.
Oh. Yeah. The Bears did do one thing good, and it was great. You know, they beat the Packers to make it so the Packers are the only winless team in the NFC North in 2025 so far. So for that, I'll give them this because they won that game, but it didn't get them to the playoffs.
Right.
Because that's what their season equals.
That's the song of their whole entire franchise the last 10 years. Yeah. The bums.
But for the first time in 5 years, or 6 years, 6 seasons, they beat the Packers. Good for them.
Mm-hmm. Poor Yoli. I know she didn't appreciate that.
Hey, at least it's newsworthy. They won 2. Yeah, Chucky was Tampa's coach when they won the first time. Yeah, I said that. That's what I'm saying. Was the coach that wasn't that the first year of Spurrier? Or was that Norv Turner was the coach that took over for Chucky coming out of retirement, if I remember.
Yeah. Right. You mean for the what was it for the
Raiders?
For the Raiders? Yeah.
Yep. Trent Dilfer, can you believe a game manager can win a Super Bowl? Yeah, because Brad Johnson did it before he did.
And Brad Johnson was on them Bucs.
Yeah,
they won the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm.
And I remember that was the year that he got signed by the Ravens, Trent Dilfer, and then they drafted Ray Lewis the following year, if I remember right. Wasn't that the year?
Yeah, you talk about Tampa Bay.
No, Ravens.
Oh yeah, the Ravens. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, Lewis was there. It was Ed Reed that they picked up later, right? Because Lewis was the first one off of Miami. Then they got Ed Reed, and then that defense made the big turnaround.
Yeah, Brad Johnson was in the first Super Bowl. In the second Super Bowl, who was the damn?
Tom Brady was that one. Bruce
Tom Brady
Arians
was that one. Yeah, Tom
Yeah,
Brady.
Bruce Arians was the coach, right?
I'm gonna fucking forget about that shit. Yeah. First year.
Yep. Joe Gibbs won 3 Super Bowls with different
Three
starting
starting quarterbacks. Yeah.
Mark Ripien and Doug Williams were 2. I can't remember the third one.
Joe Theismann.
Heisman got a Super Bowl? I thought that was, or was that the year he got hurt?
That might have been the year he got. Well, I don't know. Redskins.
LT, the first man to wreck a man's leg. And
the Redskins
the bear down. That's the way Caleb likes to.
Redskins are getting a new stadium. Good for them, huh?
Yeah, they're getting a new stadium finally.
I keep calling them
And
Redskins.
this is just for David, everybody that hates the Bears as much as we do.
There you go.
It's stripper music.
There you go.
Theismann is correct. It was Theismann was the third one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only time he lit it up. I remember he played for the Bucks too. Doug Williams played for the Bucks too.
Yep, I said Doug Williams and Mark Ripien was the 2 I remembered off the top of my head. I remember watching those Super Bowls.
Yeah, Ripien was decent. He was a decent quarterback.
Caleb Williams will make or break. The one thing I will say about Caleb Williams, and I do defend him even with Lions fans, he's the first rookie QB for Chicago to throw for over 3,000 yards. He still has less than Eric Kramer. And, it wasn't really his fault. He got stuck with the same thing every fucking rookie quarterback ever gets stuck with in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
The dead duck year of a coach's contract. Drafted into a team that's make or break without good coaching. That's what happens to these rookie guys and why they care.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Dilfer won with the Ravens, but he was drafted.
But he was drafted by the
Yep, that's exactly how. Doug Williams to Kevin House helped build the Lions in the regular season finale and winning the game. Yeah, because otherwise, I remember because we'd have been the one with the bye week then. That was the difference in the bye week, was that loss to Washington, if I remember right.
Yeah. Then we went on to 83 and missed a field goal. That probably would have put us in the NFC Championship, but we missed a field goal.
Yeah, missed the field goal wide left in Candlestick Park.
San Francisco would have never would have started their
run.
Started their run, yeah. We would have eliminated their run.
Because
Eddie Murray had to miss a 49-yard field goal when he was kicking on. He was banging all kinds of field goals that game.
And all year.
Yeah, all year. I remember that. I remember that whole scene too. That's when Monty Clark fell to his knees and was praying to heaven, so he made the field goal.
Because it looked like it was going to make it, and about 15 yards out, you seen it start to hook left.
Yeah, God didn't like Lions football at that time. Just
100%. Eddie Murray did miss a lot of big kicks, but he made a lot of big kicks for the Lions too.
Mm-hmm.
I think he made more than he missed, but when he missed them, they were bad timing. But Jason Hanson, for him to be, I still don't understand. Money Murray's worst kick. Yes. All right, guys, that's it. We got to get out of here. The Packers show is coming on. Try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. It's the only way to make the world a better place. And we'll see you Monday at noon. Have a great day, everybody.